Greetings all and welcome to High Strangeness in Alaska. This is a little sidetrack to our regular Bigfoot show that we have every Sunday. The reason I wanted to talk about UFOs and UAPs today is the new documentary Age of Disclosure was released about 2 days ago. Now, I think this is related to the book that Lou Elizondo put out, and that was his imminent that I think referred to Disclosure, but really interesting documentary. What we have is a bunch of officials. We got Marco Rubio, we got Harry Reid, and then Lou, who was in the ATIP program, and all these whistleblowers talking about retrieved, crashed UAPs, biologics that were found, and then some of this real footage that has been confirmed by the military of these UAPs flying, at incredible speeds, going transmedium. That means, a couple hundred miles an hour under the water of the ocean and then popping up and not changing speed when they go in the water. So they're affecting physics in a really strange way. But if you really look at the pieces of how these craft are acting, it's just unbelievable. There's no way it can be a drone unless some country is hiding some anti-gravitic, somehow they're controlling gravity in a way that we can't comprehend or our technology won't currently allow for. Now, it's one big psyop. Yes, there is some truth to a lot of these stories, but the military, the Pentagon, whatever, is allowing this to be the narrative, and they're somehow controlling it. It's a really bizarre game of chess they're playing, one massive psyop. There's a kernel of truth there. They don't want the full truth out, but they're playing this. I don't trust some of the players involved in some of this because their intelligence background, and we are being fed the narrative. Anyways, it's very complicated. Who knows what's really true, but the footage is real of what these military aircraft captured of these UAPs doing these incredible things. So something is out there that we don't fully understand. What really makes me angry, I have to say, is there's a huge famous blogger, whatever, podcaster that put out some of my favorite interviews that were initially, interviewed, Commander Fravor and some of these guys that watched the Tic Tac when that came out a few years ago and talked about, we don't have this technology. I don't know what it could be. And then fast forward a year or two later, he puts out a podcast titled, Submersible USOs Debunked. Oh, how are they debunked? I went and watched it, and now he's basically slapping Commander Fravor in the face and just discrediting all those people. He did, this incredible piece before where he was praising them and saying, yeah, what could it be? And now he's laughing and saying, oh yeah, they got to be drones. They're not little green men, just laughing like the whole psyop is meant to do, making fun of people who come out and report UFO sightings. And how was it debunked? There was one little segment that lasted maybe 4 or 5 minutes where they talked about the reports of the submersible submarine, these UAPs that were under the water, and the guests just kind of laughed at it and dismissed it. And then the host laughed and dismissed it too and said, oh yeah, they're not little green men. And so to me, that was just unbelievable after other things he had said. So anyways, that's my little rant on that. And that's why I think people that are high up in, the community of reporting on this are all, related to the Pentagon or have some kind of psyop. They have some stake in the game. Now, of course, we have to have national security. We can't just, say, oh yeah, the aliens are real. Well, I don't know, maybe we can, but we've been playing this game since the Cold War. A lot of the stuff with Roswell was leaked out purposefully to throw the Russians off. They did the same thing. They created some fake stories to throw us off. And now we've got these things flying around. Could some of them be China? Could some of them be Russia? Could some of them be ours? Yes. But the ones that are going 80,000 feet above the earth, 45,000 miles an hour, and this is documented, right above the ocean and then under the ocean and doing all these weird things, that is most likely not ours. I mean, that's obviously extraterrestrial in my mind, and it's just amazing that they still try to belittle people and make fun of people for believing when now we have government officials, military whistleblowers saying, yes, this is true, and they are extraterrestrial. So it all comes back to Roswell. I think the original report, they did find something, and then that was immediately discredited the next day, called a weather balloon. But something's going on there. But what's interesting is I wish the flight from Japan, now this is one of the best UFO reports ever, Japan Airlines cargo flight 1628. It was a Boeing 747, and this happened November 17th, 1986. So this Japanese pilot, they were going from France to Japan, and he had all this wine on board. It was just a cargo plane, and this huge mothership appeared. It was interacting with them. Two smaller ships came out. It gave them a sunburn on their face because at one point the ship was in front of the airplane. But the crazy thing is the airplane's radar saw it. The Anchorage International Airport radar saw it, and then they contacted the military, and the military radar saw it too. So we had seasoned pilots, seeing it up close. I guess when the big, mothership was like a mile, or it was bigger than an aircraft carrier, it looked like a glowing tortoise shell, and the little ones were coming up inside it. But I mean, they got that on radar, and then these seasoned pilots were watching it, and the media, and even if you look it up nowadays, they discredit that pilot. They say it was planets. I don't know how planets could be seen. And the pilots back then there was a lot of stigma. People made fun of them. And that guy was really courageous to come forth. They had a press conference. He made pictures of it. Check out Saucers of the North, Jesse Desmond's book on all things Alaskan UFO related. She's in contact with myself and Beans Baxter and Rob Roy Menzies and the whole Bigfoot crew up here. She's interested in Bigfoot too, but she'll email us and send us little tidbits about interesting stuff. But that book really does a good job documenting this whole thing. But what if that encounter had happened today? That would have been amazing, because more people would have took it seriously. We would have more senators involved, and military people and whistleblowers and things like that. But because it happened in 1986, they could easily discredit it. Now, there is a Psyops, a disinformation campaign going on nowadays, but it's been twisted and it's different. They're just like before, they're offering kernels of truth. We're closer to disclosure now, but they have close-up photographs they're not releasing, all kinds of stuff that they're not releasing. So pretty interesting. Please log on to my website and send me information if you have any. But check out the Age of Disclosure. I think it's worth a watch. I had to rent it on Amazon, but I'll throw a link down below. But I thought it was pretty good, and it helps the channel if you watch it. But thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll have another Bigfoot video next Sunday. It's Chook, your friend in the field.